Thank you, Professor. I would like to bring you smoothly to the lunch break and telling first that I'm very happy to be here for a number of reasons, and honored, thank you to Jean-Marc, to the RUSI, and to Nick Carter to having invited me. I'm happy because every time I come back in UK, I find something that is unchanged. And this is a positive thing. Unchanged is debating about maneuver warfare. I started listening Sir Rupert Smith in '92 when I was a student in the Staff College at Camberley, and he was telling us his experience as commander of the 1st UK Division in Desert Storm. There is another positive thing that every time I see better and better when I come in UK is cappuccino is far more better in London than in Italy. However, in my 5.5 years of serving within UK, I did not master to be a future teller. So I'm not sure if I will answer correctly to the subject that I was given. So I'm going to speak about the multinational corps in 2025. How will be the Army Corps in 2025? But first, to look at the future, I would like to tell you two things about the past. Is the past of this experience, the Army Corps telling us something. And without, because there is a shorter time, I will be punctual in 10 minutes, believe me. From Napoleon to the Prussian army of encirclement, and then the experience of the First World War that did express the potential of the Corps. The second, indeed, the Second World War did very much in favor of this maneuvering and capability to direct formations. And then in the New World Order, many corps in Germany, in Italy, in France, were deployed for a defensive battle, and were, of course, an organization that was very good at that time. With the New World Order, UK established very, just forcing the future in this case, very wisely activated the ARC in 1992, 93, and then from then, a couple of years later, we saw General Mike Walker entering into Sarajevo with the ARC, and some years, 4 years later, Sir Mike Jackson leading ARC into Kosovo for liberating Kosovo in 1999. So this experience established a new pattern, and we have now in NATO 9 multinational corps. So I would say this is that the past is telling something, that there is good, sound consistency into this kind of complex military formation. They are flexible, but they should be agile. They should be able to adapt to the situation. They should be ready and responsive. And of course, what to do now? I think that I can tell you, if the question is the future for the multinational corps still positive? I would say, first answer, yes, will be. Which role? So this is the debate. Will be a war-fighting kind of a quarter, just directed at war-fighting? I would say yes, fundamental for the war-fighting. Why? Because it should be able to plan, to direct, to execute, to support, to coordinate the maneuver of division or brigade or other kind of task organization. And of course should be able to support and to enable them with fire from artillery or getting fire from the Air Force, should be able also to direct aviation kind of activity, and also to be able to allow mobility, to provide with engineer bridging in order to allow the formation to get at the right time, the right point, and so on. But I think that is, and this is the classical warfighting. In the modern warfighting, I think that we should not forget the hybrid environment. And I think that the future multinational corps or corps at the Army Corps level, 3-star level, should be able to face and to overcome the challenge, the many challenges that were mentioned this morning, the cyber kind challenge, the non-regular unit, the terrorist attack, the local insurgent, the situation humanitarian, kind of the local people that humanitarian situation should be handled in place. So the tactical commander, company, battalion, brigade level is not able, should think to the fight. And of course to deal with some specific special forces as well in this area of operation. So responsibility, be able to get intelligence and reconnaissance from the above higher quarter and to give to the lower quarter. And I will tell my experience as a commanding officer in November to the very important exercise that may be well known to many of you, called Trident Javelin, where from the first time after 20 and more years, a joint operational level was tested in order to plan and conduct, execute an operation involving all the three main components, land, air, and maritime. So I can tell you, just limiting to the core quarter, so there was a land component command deal with 4 Army Corps, one in the front line. The other one was just backing the frontline corps, which was the Spanish. And then there was another one helping and supporting and dealing with the Norwegian total defense that was mentioned before in order to protect the capital. And there was another corps deployed to the Baltic states. This was for exercises, Skolkan scenarios is not even classified. And this was a very exercise against a near-peer adversary, and demonstrated that 4 corps were just developing and executing very different kind of tasks, especially the one into the Baltics, dealing with insurgent, local insurgent, with terrorist attack, with many other things. So they should be able not only to conduct classical war fighting, but also to be able to face the new hybrid challenge. And when I say so, I will refer to the second core task on that. So first, collective defense or classical war fighting. The second is crisis management. And with crisis management, I include not only crisis response operation expeditionary, but also to be into the mainland of the Euro-Atlantic area or the homeland area and to deal with many kind of other risks. So I will be short and I will conclude. So I will say that for sure, in 2025, we will need the core quarter. We had many samples, most of them, the 9 corps that are established in NATO, are joint capable, and they have also the capability to be land component command. In conclusion, I would say that it is fundamental to have this kind of level of command to allow maneuvering or fighting. Is necessary to express and execute also command and control in deterrence, in crisis management, and in hybrid situation, in which I believe will be easier that us as Atlantic alliance or European country or whatever multinational coalition we will be called very easily to face in the near future. To be flexible, and then I would say, making an example and refer to the NATO, a core quarter, and I finish, is not capable to change from a day to another in one room. If it is devoted for war fighting and to execute a defense, collective defense mission, should be oriented for a certain number of years. It's not possible to create this capability, to deal and exercise and train with division, with support element, with artillery, with engineers, with everything, the nation support and the mobility, and also to plan a contingency, defense or whatever emergency response plan without being years, 2, 3, not one like now. So this almost exclusively oriented, I like this, almost exclusively oriented for a certain number of years for the most demanding job, the war fighting. For the other, could be another preparation that it is not easier, but less demanding to execute. I finished that saying that they are a great tools, and we should make these resources more and more useful and used by NATO, by European Union, by our countries. Thank you so much.